How's it going? I'm Matt Thorpe. I'm the host of the Southern Wesleyan University Coaches Show. Today we have Daryl Jernigan, the head coach of men and women's tennis. How's it going, Daryl?
Hey, Matt. Good. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you here. Coach, give us kind of a mid-season recap. Right now, your women are 4-4, 2-0 in conference play. That ties them for first in Conference Carolinas. And your men are 3-7, 0-2 in conference play, but they've been competitive in a lot of matches. Give us kind of a mid-season recap.
Sure. Yeah, the girls came out of the gate very prepared. Had a great start for the weekend with Mount Olive and Barton. Both teams were preseason above us in the polls, so we had a couple of freshmen that just was not on anybody's radar that really surprised their players, I believe. And they had a lot of expectations. They knew that they were going to be a strong team compared to last year, and I was a little nervous that they might kind of falter out of the gate, but they were very prepared. They came out swinging away and just real aggressive. And the guys did also. The guys really played well. Both Mount Olive and Barton were preseason 1 and 2, and their heads and shoulders are better than everybody else in the conference. I mean, they're incredibly deep, very strong. And when I looked at our results from last year to this year, we made huge improvements. Last year, unfortunately, we didn't take points off of them. This year we pushed them in doubles and singles, and we actually went toe-to-toe with them on several of our matches. So the guys were able to see a huge jump in their game from last year to this year in that opening weekend. Would love to have some wins that weekend, but they battled hard. I was proud of them. So, and non-conference, they're doing well. So it's been a good opening to the first half.
Well, that's what you look for, is improvement on last season. That's a big one. On that note, what does a normal day of practice look like for you guys? Preparing for specific matches or conditioning or mechanics?
Sure. So typically when we get started, they'll go through a little warm-up routine just to start breaking a sweat, get everything warmed up. And then for the first 30, 45 minutes, we just do a lot of muscle memory work, a lot of repetitive drills. We call it groove work, where they just want to hit 1,000 balls exactly the same way, just over and over and over, and really just work on that muscle memory. Then we'll take about the next 45 minutes and work on court position. College tennis is so big. If you retreat back towards the fence, you're getting pushed off the baseline, you're giving up court, and that's never a good thing because that opens you up to be run off the court side to side. So we focus on just really being aggressive with our feet up to the baseline. And then the last hour or so, we kind of rotate around. Each day is a different day. We might focus on doubles play, singles play, or we might just mix it up and do some first ball exchange where it's just nothing but serves and returns. And then we'll take that last 20 minutes and do some agilities, sneak across the street and run on the track when they're not there and do some wind sprints. And then we always have a few minutes talking about the upcoming matches. I always want to make sure they're focused on who's coming up and not what's coming down the pipeline later in the month or even a couple of weeks later.
Makes sense. You got to prepare for what's next, not looking too far ahead.
Right. Keep them focused.
We're going to go into our player spotlight. Amy Dorley, she's a senior. She's from the Netherlands. She's been here for 2 years before she was at Young Harris. She was named Conference Carolina Women's Player of the Week for the final week of February. Last year, she played some 1 and 2 for you guys. Her record may not have been the best, but being in that position, that really prepared her for this year. What have you seen her grow in, whether it be tennis or as leadership or as a student on campus? How have you seen her grow?
Probably the biggest thing is her confidence. When she was playing so high up in the lineup last year, her confidence kind of wavered on her a little because she was getting beat around pretty good. And she kind of lost her confidence and didn't trust her game. And her teammates and the coaching staff, we kept just trying to encourage her, say, just keep swinging away, you're a good player. And we told her that the wins were going to be there for her. And so when she comes back as a senior, she trusted us, she trusted her teammates' encouragement, and she just went out there and wasn't worried about the results and just started swinging and playing aggressive, and it just started to click for her. It's like the light bulb came on, and I think all those trials by fire last year really showed her that she was so close. It was just those little decisions that she had to make while she was playing on the court that was causing her to lose 6-4 or 6-3. Now she's winning 6-4 or 6-3. And she was able to, accumulate it into a great weekend where she got Conference Player of the Week. So she's got some confidence now about her. Her shoulder's a little bit taller when she walks around campus, and she's grabbed the attention of a lot of the coaches around the conference after that opening weekend.
So how does an individual player have their confidence? How does that affect the entire team?
It kind of like it's like a wildfire. When you have somebody that's super confident, the teammates see that just kind of oozing out of them, and they're like, I want to be a part of that. I want that. I want that fire in my belly. So it kind of starts spreading, and with the guys, Stan Greslow is just always just oozing with positive energy and just always confidence. And so you see it bounce around to some guys that might be struggling, and or some of the girls with Amy that might be struggling. They see these upperclassmen going out, I want to be like that. So it's really neat to see how it just kind of spreads around and it catches fire.
Well, it was brought to my attention that the NCAA D2 is actually exploring some different scoring options, looking to shortening up the double sets. Can you kind of clarify what the D2 NCAA is looking at?
Sure. Right now there's about 3 different options, whether it's traditional or abbreviating the double score or terminating the doubles matches themselves. Right now, for most D2 schools, there are 12 singles and 6 doubles matches being played at one site, what is called a dual gender. So like when we have a home contest, we have 6 courts and we got to play 18 matches, basically 3 rotations. So what the NCAA has asked D2 to explore this year is, first off, instead of doing an 8-game pro set, do a 6-game pro set for doubles. And then second, typically with D1, you win 2 of the 3 matches, you get a single point for the team score, and then they terminate that 3rd match going on. So if it's 3-3, then they won't get to play out, and then they just roll straight into singles. So they're looking at those 2 avenues to see if they can just get time taken off these 5, 6, even some of the matches I've seen last 8 hours long for the student athletes. Another thing is, traditionally in singles, you have a 2 out of 3 set match. So if you and I are playing, you win the first set, I win the second set, we would play an entire 3rd set out to determine the winner of the match. And they're looking at taking that 3rd set away and just doing what's called a 10-point super tiebreaker, where we just go by ones, and I serve twice, you serve twice, I serve twice, you serve twice. First one to get the 10, win by 2, wins the entire match. And I can see the way doubles could be more beneficial, but I'm a little nervous about the singles because conditioning, we work hard. We push our players as a staff, and condition is something that does not need to be vacated by college athletics. So I'm a little nervous on that one, but I do understand the time restrictions because it's tough on the kids.
Makes sense. Yeah, they're juggling jobs and sports and school itself, and then wanting to have a social life and still get some sleep. So
right, yeah.
Well, for our final portion, we're going to look forward. What does your first season of postseason eligibility for Conference Carolina, what kind of goals and expectations do you have for the men and the women?
Okay, well, we're pretty excited, very excited about the future, because if we were to have been eligible last year, both teams would have made it. We both finished in the top 7 out of the 12 schools, so we would have made the tournament. So it kind of put some fuel in the fire, knowing that they can make the conference tournament. So at the beginning of the season, we sat down, we wrote out what we wanted to do as a team this year, and both teams wanted to be top 4 in the conference. If we're a top 4 seed, you get a better time slot down at Sumter, South Carolina for the tournament. You get those later match times where you get to sleep in, you're not having to get up real early, you're not playing in the heat in late April down there, you're playing like a 6 p.m. match. So you get off the courts later, but you're not in that heat. So the big goal is, if we finish in the top 4, that will be a huge step for us. A smaller set, if we make the conference tournament top 8, that will be a winning season for us. I fully anticipate both teams to make it. Where we're going to sit at in the tournament so early, I can't tell, but I think that's going to be a realistic goal for us. And we talk about nationals. Whoever wins our conference, they get an automatic bid to the field of 32 teams, and we would love to go to NCAAs. If it doesn't work out that way, we also excited about the opportunity to go play at the NCCAAs, which our girls team got to do last year in Mobile, Alabama, in May, and it was hot down there. It's hot in there, so well, hopefully we can get there also and play a little bit later. But we talk about nationals, but we also are big for if we take care of our business in our conference, which is one of the harder conferences in the country, nationals is going to be there. If we win our conference, we'll be at nationals.
So the team is focusing on each match and working towards playoffs, but how are you as a coach and as a staff preparing for next year, whether it be the recruiting that you're doing or preparing leaders? You're losing 8 seniors total, 2 female and 6 male. How are you preparing leaders out of your freshmen and your sophomores and your juniors for next year?
Pressure. I'm putting a lot of pressure on them, especially with the women's team, because we have 2 freshmen, 2 sophomores, and 0 juniors. So I really hold their feet to the fire. I put a lot of pressure on them. I hold them very accountable, and I tell them every day that somebody's going to have to step up and be a leader for this team next year. With the 2 seniors we have, they're great examples, and these young women are becoming stronger and stronger. So it's going to be fun to see them next year. Some of them are really stepping into that role now and kind of jockeying for a leadership role, so it's really neat to see. For the guys, it's a little more interesting because the pool is a lot smaller. We only got a couple of guys that will be returning. For the girls, we're bringing in 2, but for the guys, we're bringing in 4. I don't think the freshmen are going to really be able to step into a leadership role, but you never know because tennis is such a weird sport. It's not like basketball or soccer. All through their junior career, it's individualistic. The players that we recruit are not high school players. They're at clubs, they're at academies in Florida or California, so they don't really get that team aspect. It's a very individualistic sport, so when they get here, it takes them a little while to get caught up to the curve of a team sport. But the freshmen we got coming in are pretty strong. We're hoping to sign a few more in April, with April 12th, I believe, being signing day, and get them on campus and see what they can do. Give them opportunities. We talk as a staff. All we can do is give them opportunities to shine, and some will withdraw, but some will want that light and they'll step into it.
Well, that's awesome. I'm excited for you guys as the season goes on, and excited to see how you're able to continue to build the program over the next few years. Thank you, Coach.
Matt,
wish you the
appreciate
best
you.
of luck this season.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching. Look forward to having the tennis season get out there and compete for Conference Carolinas later this year.